Hey guys, Shio here, and welcome to my 100% completion video for SMRPG. I'm going to 100% the game by beating the game, not only doing that, but getting every monster entry, optional tasks, and beating every boss, including the secret bosses at the end. But before we start the video, be sure to check out my Twitch, where all my footage is recorded live. Let us begin the video! Yahoo! We first start out the game at Bowser's Keep, where we meet our first enemy in the Terrapin! Now we get into our fight with the tutorial boss Bowser. Simple trick with this fight, just attack the chain. Let's go! Easy peasy. What's this? Am I in another world? Nope, I'm just flying right into the Mario Bros. House. Yes, indeed, after your fight with Bowser, you get sent flying from Bowser's Keep into a Superman-style freefall, I guess, at the Mario House, where we introduce ourselves to Toad, where Toad finds out we haven't saved the princess, and then we have to head back to the Keep. But just wait until we get back to the Keep, there's a little bit of a surprise. That was our first introduction to the Smithy Gang, the antagonist group for the game. So pretty much we're on a mission to figure out who the Smithy Gang is and what happened to everything. But at this point, we have already ran into two instances, well, not only two, well, I guess two instances where we've completed 3 bestiary entries with Bowser, the Chain Link, and the Terrapin. And now we're on our way to Mushroom Way. Now we're in Mushroom Way, where we are introduced to 4 new enemies, so to speak. One being the Goomba, the traditional enemy in the Mario games. 2 being the Paratroopa, which is another traditional enemy in the Mario games. And then the Spiky and... will we have to bring in the introduction? The WWE intro of the Hammer Bros!
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Oh yeah, I forgot when you're level 2 you one-shot them. After the fight, we get a new equipment item, well, our first equipment item in the Hammer Bros hammer. Woohoo, that is one step closer to getting the Lazy Shell, which is probably, well actually, which is the best weapon for Mario, and will help us complete the game a lot more easier. Now we meet our first ally in supposedly the tadpole that is Mallow. He sure looks fluffy for a tadpole. But Mallow here is pretty much a mage type class unit, where he uses a lot of, I would say, thunder spells and ice spells. He's really good for bosses like Culex and other bosses that have elemental, like multiple enemies on the field, like the Piranha Plant boss. So hopefully, yeah, Smilax. So hopefully we can level him up decently enough to be able to handle these bosses without too much of a trouble, because his HP is not the best early on. Before we head to Bandit's Way, we have 3 hidden chests that we have to grab within Mushroom Kingdom. And there is 39 chests in total for the game to 100% it. This is a side achievement to 100% the game, technically, with getting all 39 chests. So the first chest is in the castle, then the other 2 chests are in the basement of the shop. Now we're on our way to Bandit's Way. Now that we're in Bandit's Way, there is, I believe, 3 new enemies here. Sorry, I had to count right there for a second. There's 3 new enemies here, 1 being a boss, 2 being 2 new enemies. So the 2 new enemies here are the Frogog and the the Canine. And the boss being Croco. Now, there is actually, before I get into Croco fight, there is 1 hidden chest here that I need to grab for the hidden chest achievement. This is the 1 chest in Bandit's Way that I need to grab. It has a Coca-Cola in it, which is going to be really good for late game. Even though I'm going to be probably extremely high level, it shouldn't... Coca-Cola recovers all your HP. So this is a really good hidden item to grab early on, and to keep for late game. Now we gotta get into the fight with Croco! Croco is a known thief in the game. He is a bit of a crook, so to speak. He is sneaky fingers, like, you know, sneaky hands. But here is a little bit of a tip for you if you're fighting Croco. If you use Fireball on him, if your Mario is a high enough level to have Fireball, you will stun him for a turn. But with me being over leveled for this fight while trying to grab all the bestiary stuff for the monster list, it wasn't too much of a problem for me. So now we're on our way back to Mushroom Kingdom. Now that we're back in Mushroom Kingdom, there are 3 new enemies here. 1 being the Shyster that are attacking the townsfolk and coming out of the castle. 2 being the bodyguard that you will fight against the boss, and 3rd being the boss, Mac. Now, before we get to Mac, there are 2 side quests we can do here that are optional, but I want to make sure to get them done because I do think they are needed to 100% the game, in my personal opinion, because they are an optional side quest that you cannot do later on. Well, one of them you can't do later on. While the town is being raided by the Shysters, there is a top left corner house in the Mushroom Kingdom, where if you save the family in that house, they will give you an item in return. Now, and there is also a fight at the beginning at the bottom left house where a guy is being chased by a Shyster. Now, if you save him, you don't have to save him because afterwards you can still give him his wallet back that you got from Croco. But if you give him his wallet, he will give you a flower tab. Now. Let's get into some of the other optional items here, which is in the top, in the far right corner of the castle. We can get I believe a wake up pin or an antidote pin, if I remember correctly. And the top left corner is, I forget what item, but you have to help escort the toad back up to where all the other toads are. Now let's get into the fight against Mac. Mac is actually really, really cool. I love him. But it's a super easy fight. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. He will bring out bodyguards when you get him to a low enough HP. And he gets stunned for a turn if you use Thunderbolt, or like the Thunder spell from Mallow on him. So be sure to use your Thunder spells on him for 1 turn of stun. After the fight, we get a crystal star. We don't know what these stars are for yet, but they are for completing the game. So that's a 1 up thing of the one of the 7 stars that we need to complete the game. So, after the fight, we get the star, and now we're on our way to Kiro Sewers, where we're introduced to, let me bring this up first, I believe we're introduced to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new enemies, actually. 1 being the Rat Funk, 2 being the Hobgoblin, 3 being Shadow. No, not Shadow from Sonic. I mean, Shadow from the game. And 4 being Boo. No, 5 being Boo. 6 being Hawat, which is an optional boss in this game. And 7 being the coolest, my most favorite boss character of all time, just by the looks of it. Balome. Now, before we get into fighting Balome, fighting Hawat will give you a flower jar in return. And it's really good to actually beat him, because he also, I believe, I can't remember if he gives you an item with it. Was it the wake up pin? I believe it was the wake up pin that you get from the box itself. Now once you're fighting Hawat, you're always wanting to use jump because his main weakness is jump. So just use Mario with jump and you will complete the boss with ease. Now we are fighting Balome. This is hands down my favorite character of all time when it comes down to a boss out of the Mario games, because I think it just looks so cool. It literally looks like a sphinx. Now with this fight, you're gonna wanna be prepared to get scarecrowed quite a bit, which is a new status ailment that you can get afflicted by, where you can't use your physical attacks and you can only use specials at that point. And Balome, once you get him down to a certain amount of HP, he will eat one of your characters so that you will have to fight with only 1 character. Now, after the fight, we get into a mini game. I forget what the name of it was, but it's just like, what was the name? I can't remember. But after that, we get a frog coin, and now we're on our way to
the frog coin for the first trade-in
pond to meet the frog sage that is raising Mallow. Now that we met the frog sage himself, we get told that Mallow isn't actually a tadpole. Big shocker! But there is another area in this in the tadpole pond where you create symphonies type of idea on a tadpole pond chart. It's like a music chart but in the water. So it goes do re mi fa sol la di do, do re mi fa sol la. No, it goes do re mi fa sol la, I think. And what was it? I lost my train of thought again. Oh yeah, there are 3 songs that you can create here for the alto card, the sophomore card, and this other card to get items from the frog coin shop. And it is needed to 100% the game to do these songs. So after completing the first song, we then head to the next area. Now we're in Rose Way. We are introduced to 5 new enemies, to be exact, in this area. I don't think there's any hidden chests here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's no hidden chests, but we're introduced to 5 new enemies. 1 being the Star Slap, 2 being the Shy Guy, 3 being the Snapdragon, 4 being the Crook, and 5 being the Arachne. These are really good, this is a really good farming area for EXP early on, so if you do need to get EXP in, do farm this area because the Crooks give also a lot of, I think they give a lot of coins as well. But the Crooks give like 10 EXP per kill. Now, let's get into the next area, that is Rose Town. In Rose Town, there is a hidden item in the item shop. So you want to go to the item shop to grab that hidden chest to get your, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is the 6th hidden chest that we can grab so far. Hopefully I'm right. And because we're in this area, we go to the top left house where a guy seems to be locked out of his house because he can't get up the stairs because his son is stepped on the button to get rid of the stairs. And there is also a hidden chest in there on top of the bed. So be sure to grab that hidden chest as well. And if you don't touch the chests in the house at the bottom floor, the guy will tell you where a hidden grove of items is, a hidden stash of items in the forest maze. And now that we're done all of that, we head on to the inn, where we get into a little bit of kerfuffle with Kaz, or Gaz, I think his name is, and we end up getting knocked out by Gino, the doll. But believe it or not, something happens. Whoa! Like, my whole back is so itchy. Now we're in the next area, the Forest Maze, where there are 6 new enemies that we can get for our bestiary achievements for completing the 100% of the game. Number 1 being Wiggler, number 2 being the Gorilla, number 3 being the Amanita, number 4 being the Octolot, number 5 being the Buzzer, and number 6 being the boss of the area, Boyer, which is a really cool bow character, guy, weapon, whatever you want to call it. Just don't call it an attack helicopter. That's all I say. Now, before we get into the Boyer fight, there are around 6 new hidden chests here. 1 being at the start of the map, 2 and 3 being at the middle of the map in the pipes, which are really hard to find. 4 being at the last pipe with the sleeping Wiggler in it. 5 being near the entrance to the forest maze, which is the actual forest maze where you go into 4 other directions, and 6 being before the fight against Boyer. Now that we get all of that done, let's get into the fight against Boyer. This fight is so much fun sometimes because we get introduced to the new character, Gino. I'll play out the stream VOD as the fight goes on. This is just a stream VOD, no more commentary from me for this fight. Thank you guys.
You're a funny dog. You know that? You're a funny dog.
Now that we're done Boyer, we get the second star piece and our new character in Gino. Now we head back to Rose Town, where if we go to the inn, Gaz will give us finger shot for Gino, which is a really, really good starter weapon for him, and you get it for free from just coming back to the inn and meeting Gaz. This is really good. This is really good damage early on. Gino is a really good damage dealer, and he buffs up his allies with Gino boost later on. Now, let's go into the next area. That is Booster. No, not Booster Way. The Pipe Vault. We are introduced to 3 new enemies here: the Lava Bubble, the Piranha Plant, and the Shy Ranger, which is a really hard mob to find. You'll have to come back and forth like quite a bit of times. But if you do defeat the Shy Ranger, he does give a good 60 EXP. But you're not going to defeat him early on. Let's be honest here. He's just going to run away. Now, the main reason why I came here is because I need to unlock Yoster Island, where all the Yoshis are. Now, to get to Yoster Island, you gotta go through the Pipe Vault, which has, I believe, 2 hidden chests in it near the ending, where there's a small duck, where you can get a frog coin from like running and then sliding. I forget where it was, but I'll show it on screen right here. And once we get to Yoster Island, we gotta do a mini game to help Yoshi take back the island from Boshi, who is the top runner for the Yoshi race. And by defeating Boshi, all the Yoshis get to race again freely. Now we're at Mole Mines, which is located in Moleville. Now in this area, we're introduced to 8 new enemies. Number 1 being the Magmite, number 2 being the Bomb Mob, number 3 being the Enigma, number 4 being the Cluster, number 5 being Croco again, which is a mini-boss here, number 6 being Micro Bomb, number 7 being Mezzo Bomb, and number 8 being the boss of the area, Punchinello, which is honestly one of the more cooler bosses as well in this game. When it comes down to SMRPG, they have really good boss sprites, especially when in the remake they pop a lot more and they look so unique to me. Now, before we get into the fight against Punchinello, we get into a fight against Croco. Croco, now with the added ability to steal all your items into the second phase of the fight when you do enough damage to him, you will not be able to use items in this fight during the second phase. Which is, again, if you can just use Fireball, you can just get past this fight really easily, and with Geno boost onto Mario. Now we get into the next phase, next area, which is right before Punchinello. Now, when we fight Punchinello, get ready for a boss fight of a boss fight, especially when you get him to post-game. But early game, in the story, it's not that much of a difficulty spike, but it is still pretty cool to see how he interacts. Because Punchinello has a short fuse, and henceforth he is a fuse. Now, once we fight him, he will send out bomb mobs. To make sure to clear out the bomb mobs and make sure to clear out Punchinello, and then at the end of the fight, it's really funny, he sends down a giant bomb that blows up in his face. Well, not blows up in his face, but crushes him. It's really funny. I love the comedy in this game. It's one of my favorite. This has to be one of my favorite fights in the game. And as well, we get the, what was it, 3rd star piece at Moleville Mines. Now we're in the next area of the game, Booster Pass. Now in this area, there are 5 new enemies here that you can get for your bestiary achievements, for your 100% bestiary. But one of them, you have to wait till you hit a switch at Booster Tower. But the first 4 enemies that you can get here are the Spikester, the Artichoker, the Lakitu, and a carrot. Now in this area, there are also 2 hidden chests that we have to grab for the hidden chest achievement. Now, one's located next to the top left of the map of the first area, while the other one is located to the top right of the map of the first area. And also here is where you get your actually monster trophy, is where you go and get the thought bubble of entries for the first, I believe, 4 enemies of the game, which were first 3 enemies of the game, which were the Bowser, Terrapin, and the Chain Link. And once you have all the thought bubbles for all the enemies in the game, he will give you a monster trophy at the end, which is needed for the 100%. Now we gotta go into the next area, which is Booster Tower. Booster Tower has 4 hidden chests, and I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot of enemies. But then again, it is 11 if you're caught by Booster. But besides that, it should be 11, where 1 being the Snippet, 2 being the Orb User, 3 being the Jester, 4 being the Sniffster, 5 being the Dolox, 6 being the Raw Bomb, and 7 being the Blaster, 8 being the Blue Lava Bubble, 9 being the Chain Chomp, 10 potentially if you're caught by Booster during his minigame, 11 being Knife Guy, and 12 being Great Guy. Knife Guy and Great Guy are some of the more memorable bosses in this game as well, because afterwards we're gonna need to get a card from Knife Guy to get into Great Guy's Casino, which is also gonna be a part of the 100%ing of this game. Now, before we get into a fight with Knife Guy and Great Guy, on our way to the top of the tower, we have to get 4 hidden chests and do a couple puzzles. There is a puzzle where you need to go and hit these portraits in order. Now, when you hit the portraits in order, Booster will come out of the poster and spit out a key. Now, in the room where the portraits were, there is a locked up Chain Chomp. We need to get this for the 100% because it is an optional item and it's optional task. As well as there is also a key in the Lava Bubble room where we have to follow the coins to the key and get to the door for another item. Now, at the top of the tower, we fight Booster. No, we get into a mini game with Booster where we dodge all the openings of the curtains, and then at the end of it, we get an item in the Booster Charm, which isn't that really good because it decreases speed. Now we're in the fight against Knife Guy and Great Guy. This has to be one of the more easier fights, actually, because I believe Great Guy is weak to physical, while Knife Guy is weak to mage. And if you're overleveled like me at this point, because you're trying to get all the bestiary stuff, it's quite easy to defeat. But thank you guys, let's get on to the next area, which is Booster Hill. This is another mini game where we go up a mountain to try and save Princess Peach. Every time we get into a direct contact with Peach, Booster will throw out a flower tap, and you can, I believe there's a max of like 13 tabs you can get in this mini game, and it will only happen for this one time where you can get the flower tabs. So be sure to get as many as possible, and be sure to jump on the sniffsters and the barrels that boost your distance. Now for the last area in the place, which is Merrymore. There is one hidden chest here, which is in the suite at the second suite at the Merrymore Inn. Be sure to grab that and then head to the back area of the wedding hall, and then go through there to get to the sniffsters. What the? Now we're in the fight against Bunt, the cake boss. Wait, what? The cake boss? Yeah. But I'm just kidding. That's a Food Network show. But this is the cake boss in SMRPG Bunt. And Tort, I think that's how you say their name, the chefs. This is a pretty easy boss fight, and it's the most delicious boss fight of all time, according to Booster. Now we have Peach, our next teammate, which is the best healer in the game. Woohoo! Her group hug is really good endgame, and it's really good against Smilax, the plant boss, because not only does Peach heal everyone, but she also cures status ailments. So this is gonna be really good. She's really pretty much needed for endgame. So after that, we are heading to our next area in the game, Star Hill. We're gonna be finding the 4th star piece. But in Star Hill, we are encountering 5 new enemies. 1 being Tropher, 2 being Gecko, 3 being Master Doom. That's my rap name. I'm just kidding. That'd be so weird. But 4 being Sackett, and 5 being Pulsar. Now we're in the next area of the game, the sea, where we are introduced to 5 new enemies. 1 being Zero Star, 2 being Blooper, Bloop Bloop, 3 being Mr. Kipper, 4 being Krusty, and 5 being Liuko? I don't know how to pronounce that. Now, as we head through the pipe, we now enter the sunken ship, the next area of the game where we will find the 5th star piece. Now, in this area, we're introduced to, I believe, 15 new enemies, if I'm correct, or 14 new enemies, if I'm correct. 1 being Reaper, 2 being Strawhead, Reacher, Drybones, Alley Rat, Enigmax, Tentacle Left, Tentacle Right, King Calamari, Whoa, Mini Goomba, Bandana Red, Bandana Blue, and Johnny the Shark. Johnny is the boss of this area, but before we get to that boss, we have to fight Whoa. It's one of the optional bosses from the optional chests in the area, and let's just be honest, it's so much more easier just to beat these things just because they're weak to jump. Always jump on this box, it'll just destroy it. But now we get into the fight against Johnny. Man, is Johnny a pain sometimes if you're underleveled, because if you defeat all four characters around him, he will get into a 1v1 state versus Mario. Now, the easiest thing to do here is what people do in speedrunning, is they do 100 super jumps on Johnny. I shouldn't say it's easy, it's actually quite difficult, because super jumps are not that easy to do, especially 100 times in a row. Now we get into a battle against Spiritovich. Has to be one of the more memorable boss fights back in the original game because he does a lot of spells, and single target spells, if you did not know, in the remake are blockable, but back in the original they weren't. So it made this boss really, really painful to do because Spiritovich here is technically a mage. Hard to believe that he's a spear and a mage. But, you know, Square Enix be Square Enix. Now we're in the next area, Land's End, where there's around 16 new enemies and 6 new hidden chests to find. Man, were these chests really painful back in the day to find because there are a couple doozies, and as well as there's a route in this this level where it takes you towards a cricket jam, I believe, for the Frog Sage, which is an optional task, and since optional tasks are needed for the 100%, I go and grab the cricket jam for the Frog Sage, who gives me 5 to 10 frog coins in return. Definitely not worth it, but hey, 5 to 10 frog coins. Who can blame him for being a bit stingy? But now that we're done Land's End, we go into the next area, that is Balom's Temple, where we quickly defeat Balom and head into the next area for the game. Now that we're in Monstro Town, we meet a familiar face from the Bowser's Army, Jagger. So this is where he differentiated to. So we get into a battle with Jagger to find out that he's being mentored by Jinx, and we get into 3 battles against Jinx in order to get the Jinx belt. This is another optional task in the game, and I really like to fight against Jinx. It always makes you have to know your timed dodges. Now we're in the next area of the game, Bean Valley, where there is actually in Bean Valley, I believe, there is 3 hidden chests. During the main game, I only grabbed 2 of them because I forgot where the third one was, but the third one was located in the bottom, I believe in the bottom right pipe at the 5 pipes at the 5 pipe map where you get to right before the save. It was in the bottom right pipe, and it was in the left corner. But in this area, we're introduced to 5 new enemies to be exact. An optional boss by Pleasino, and his minion Ginny, and Chomp Chomp, Smilax, and Mega Smilax. So through our way through Bean Valley, I hit the 5 pipe area, grabbed all the stuff from all the pipes, and then got into a fight with Smilax. Smilax, believe it or not, is actually quite an easy boss. You just need to make sure that Peach has safety badge on, and then you can just group hug all your allies whenever they get status ailmented by Petal Blast from Mega Smilax, which makes this boss really, really easy. And at the end of the fight, we get a new optional item for the Lazy Shell, which is the Seed. You need this item to get the Lazy Shell because it's the best item in the game for Mario's attack, and it's also really funny. Now we're at the Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk, woohoo! But now that we're at the Beanstalk, we can actually get access to, I believe, how many new enemies was it again? We have access to actually 2 new enemies. 1 being Birdie and 2 being Big Troopa. So pretty much, there's a couple. There's a route to the right, to the top right, where if you go up the top right beanstalk, you get access to like some chests with, I believe, a defense scarf in it. So it's always nice to go after that as well, and it's needed for the 100%. As well as we go up it, we get into the next area called Nimbus. Why did I say Nimbus Land? Nimbus Castle. So Nimbus Castle, we find out that Mallow is actually the prince. We get into a dodge off against a big dodo bird, and we have access now to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whoa, 13 new enemies. So we have access to 13 new enemies. 1 being Slingshy, 2 being Orbison, 3 being Pinwheel, 4 being Muckle, 5 being Joffle, 6 being the Shaman, 7 being Bluebird, 8 being Shelly, 9 being Birdo, 10 being Egbert, 11 being Dodo, 12 being Dodo's Valentina's attendant, and then 13 being Valentina. So in this area, there is a couple hidden chests that you need to grab here. 1 being in the top left corner of the map, where I grabbed 2 of them. And then if you run your way back after the whole incident with like the Valentina, there's gonna be a hidden chest in the main room where there are the 3 doorways to the right. There's 2 hidden chests. Almost forgot about that one. Now that I'm done all of that, I go and grab the casino card from Knife Guy at Booster Tower.
Finally, I got the casino card.
And I do the 100 lookaways at Great Guy. Man, is this boring. Because all I did was push left on the analog stick and just kept on tapping A. It was so boring. But as well as I did, because it is required for the 100%, I had to do the 100 super jumps, which I have never done before. So let me just reassess myself after this. This was painful. I was so stressed out. Little did you know about me, I actually have an anxiety disorder, so when it was getting higher and higher to that like 100 mark, my anxiety was through the roof. Like my heart was palpitating, and that's coming from a gamer. But it was really fun to actually get the 100 super jumps in. I felt very proud of myself, and so I can get the super suit. And the super suit I put on Mario because it's just an amazing equipment. It makes the game so much more easier.
Og Grumble cheered. X10. Psych.
Let's go! Now we're heading to the next area, Barrel Volcano, where we are introduced to 18? Wait, what? 18 new enemies? That's a bit too many enemies to list off, so hopefully you guys don't mind me not listing them off. But in this area, I believe there is no hidden chest, so that's good to know, because I was about to say there was a hidden chest when there actually wasn't. And since we're going through the map, we get into our first boss fight against the Caesar Dragon. Now, the Caesar Dragon is actually really easy to defeat. It is weak against ice elements, so if you have snowy or any other ice spells, or like an ice bomb, you can do major damage to it. Now in the second phase of the fight, Zombone is weak to both jump and lightning. But it's just weak in general to like physical attacks. But after that fight, we get into oh, is this the Power Rangers? No, it is the Axum Rangers. Against Axum Red, Axum Black, Axum Yellow, Axum Green, and Axum Pink. If you did not know about this fight, it's a gimmick of if the Power Rangers were evil, and it's actually a really easy fight. By defeating them, we get access to the 6-star piece, and we're on our way to the next and second last area of the game, which was also the first area of the game, Bowser's Keep. One more star to go. Now we're at Bowser's Keep, where the 3 important enemy fights are Wizakoopa, Boomer, and Exor. Wizakoopa fight was actually really easy. I was just trying to make sure I was like thought bubbling all the minions from Wizakoopa, but he would only bring out the Jinx clone, so I just said screw it, might as well defeat Wizakoopa. Then we get into a fight against Boomer. Boomer was really easy because I had Super Suit and a Lazy Shell on my Mario. Like, nothing is going to defeat my Mario at this point. So I quickly defeat Boomer and get into a fight against Exor, which I thought bubbled all the pieces of his gimmick, where his gimmick is you have to attack his eye so that his hilt becomes not protected, and it was also a super cool fight. And little did you know, Exor was actually the gate to Smithy's world. That's the big plot twist here, is he's a gate. He's supposed to be a sword, but he's a gate. So pretty much we're at the final area of the game, where there is going to be a plethora of bosses here to fight. Enough that I don't really want to count everything out, so I'm going to be going in order from bosses for the important bosses to the final boss, Smithy.
The final stretch.
So the first boss here, we're going to be fighting Countdown. Countdown is so easy with Super Suit, it's not even funny. It makes it so easy with Super Suit, as well as before Countdown, I believe there is a... It was like before or after Countdown, there was a hidden chest that you can grab. Hopefully I'm right about that. And as well as the next boss fight, which is Spirit-of-Itch. Well, it's not technically a boss fight, I would say a mini boss fight. So pretty much your Spirit-of-Itch machine made. So that fight was really easy. Now we're going to be getting into one of the bigger fights, Domino and Cloaker. So depending on which one you fight, on which one you kill first, say Domino, Cloaker will go into a fused form with this snake thing, and you'll be fighting Bad Adder. He is weak to magic, but he is strong against melee. So physical attacks he will be strong against. So what my plan is to defeat Cloaker first. Cloaker being the physical attack dealer with magic, and then getting into a fight with Domino fused, so that I do extra physical damage with my Lazy Shell, which was actually the best plan that I can do for that fight. Now we're in the final stretch of the game. We get into a fight against Clerk, Manager, Director, and the Factory Chief and Gunyoke. Now, you may be thinking, that was a bit too fast. Well, these bosses are not that special. Like, when you think of high-level boss fights, you don't really think of really bad boss fights like these. Like they're not even boss fights. They're less than mini boss fights actually. Like, they were so easy. Now it's time for the final fight of the game before post-game, Smithy. Smithy was really easy first phase and really easy second phase, because I was trying to thought bubble all of his second phase stuff, like all of his second phase forms, so I didn't have to waste too many frog coins trying to get the thought bubbles for them. But for some odd reason, he would only go into Mage. So maybe I found out a little glitch there where he can only go into mage now. But it was so funny. Like, I'll just play the whole battle for you guys. But this is going to be the whole fight for Smithy. Please do understand I was trying to delay the battle as much as possible to get as many thought bubbles out as possible. Like like to get the thought bubbles from Mallow's thought skill. But it just didn't seem to work in my favor. But here is the end of the story. Now it's time for post-game. Our first post-game boss fight is against Balom. The gimmick here is whenever he copies and makes a clone of someone, the clone protects him from damage, so you can't do any direct damage to him at that point. So you gotta defeat the clone first before you can do damage to Balom. That's the gimmick here. I like it, and the boss is definitely harder. And after that, I ended up doing, I believe, the cake boss again, where in this battle, you gotta make sure that you don't get him above at 5 ignites. Because if he gets him at 5 ignites for the candles, then you get insta-wiped. I then go back to Tadpole Pond to finish the 2 songs I needed to complete for the alto and the sophomore card, as well as I get into a fight with Punchinello near the end game. This fight took so long. Am I crazy for not thinking that this fight was crazy hard? I think this fight was harder than the Kulix fight. And I first tried the Kulix fight. Spoiler alert. But this fight, the Punchinello gimmick was when he brings out bomb, you gotta critical hit them. Actually, critical hit them to swing them the other way before they ignite on you. Man, was that difficult. Then we head to Booster Tower, where we get a new item for Geno. So the gimmick here is you gotta defeat Booster by making him so that he doesn't doesn't bring out his train to one-shot you. It's quite funny. And then our fight against... Yeah? Then our fight against Jinx. Jinx, the way to defeat Jinx in this fight is you gotta actually do a triple move on him. You gotta show him a triple move. So you gotta survive all of his hits until you can hit him with a triple move. And if you miss a timed attack, he will one-shot you. Now it's time for the Kulix fight! Man, was this fight easy. 2D Kulix was so easy with Super Suit and Shell, and Lazy Shell. But then let's get into our final fight of the game. Our final fight. So pretty much, before this, I did get the ghost medal for doing the sleep event. But before this, I did do that, and let's show off the whole fight. This was my first try. This was my first try, and I had a good feeling that I had to go for the crystals first rather than Kulix, because I was so nervous of the crystals, but my strategy actually planned out, because this is how I used to fight Kulix back in the day on the SNES. So this was so much fun. Come on, freebie. Whoa! Let's go! And at the end of the game, I was able to get the monster trophy by filling in the rest of the thought bubbles I needed at the monster thought bubble guy. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching the whole video. I do understand that to all the subscribers that I have that have been like seeing that I don't post that much every day, like if not once a year type of idea, it's because I've had so much. I was in so much work for like the past year because I got a job at this one restaurant, and I've only been able to do videos whenever I have the time. So I'm thinking of just doing 100% videos rather than my RuneScape series I started. I might do that later on in life, but like at the moment I've only had time to do specific things. And then in my free time I just love editing. I just love editing, but it's just been so busy. So I'm trying to think of how I'm gonna balance everything out, but I really want to make a profession out of editing. Like it's either I edit for someone, or I become an editor for someone, or I edit my own videos. And that's what I've always wanted in life, is to edit videos. Because I've taken courses on this stuff as well. I actually took courses on editing, so hopefully the editing was really well done for everyone. And I hope everyone has a great day. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to support me, check out my Twitch. It's where I normally get most of my income from for videos. So whatever I can like spend money on, like for like video stuff, like graphics, like from a friend that because I ended up paying my friend some cash to do a graphic for me that I didn't end up using in the video, but it's still worth, it was still worth the time because there was a possibility that I needed it. But besides that, I really do want to thank everyone. Thank everyone for the support. Thank everyone for the understanding that I've been really busy lately. And I plan on making more 100% videos in the future. So thank you guys so much, and peace.